Welcome back to Rapture Tales. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and get ready for another story you won't forget. Let's dive back to the story. Hannah Whitmore once believed loyalty was the strongest foundation a marriage could stand on. For 6 years, she shaped her life around Oliver Grant, quietly sacrificing her own ambitions so his could flourish. In their modest town, she was known as dependable and gentle, the woman who never complained and always stood proudly beside her husband. She believed love meant endurance, and endurance meant silence, even when she felt herself slowly fading behind Oliver's growing confidence. The end arrived without warning or compassion. Oliver announced his departure with chilling calm, speaking as though he were explaining a business decision rather than abandoning a marriage. He said he needed something different, something lighter, something new. Hannah barely understood his words before he was gone, leaving behind echoes of promises that no longer mattered. The humiliation followed swiftly, spreading through the town before she could gather herself. Megan Clark appeared almost immediately, vibrant and unapologetic. She moved into Hannah's former role with disturbing ease, wearing her jewelry, visiting the places Hannah once loved, and laughing loudly among familiar faces. Each sighting felt like a fresh wound, reopening pain Hannah hadn't begun to heal. The town watched closely, comparing the women without shame, and Hannah felt reduced to a discarded version of herself. At home, the silence was suffocating. Hannah replayed memories, searching for signs she had missed, blaming herself for loving too deeply. Nights stretched endlessly, filled with doubt and quiet tears. It was during one of these heavy evenings that Sophie Reynolds refused to let Hannah sink any further. Sophie spoke plainly, urging Hannah to see the ending not as a failure, but as a release. She reminded her of the woman she had been before marriage, capable and strong. Those words stirred something dormant in Hannah. For the first time since the divorce, she considered the possibility that her life was not over, only interrupted. Hannah began with deliberate steps. She focused on her health, her appearance, and her confidence, not to impress anyone, but to reconnect with herself. She enrolled in an advanced marketing program, discovering a sharp intellect she had long ignored. Each achievement rebuilt a piece of her identity, replacing shame with quiet pride. As her confidence grew, opportunities followed. Hannah traveled, meeting new people and experiencing places that expanded her perspective. Away from the town that knew her as Oliver's abandoned wife, she felt anonymous and free. It was during one such journey that she met Nathaniel Brooks. Nathaniel was calm, observant, and respectful in ways Hannah wasn't accustomed to. He listened without interrupting and never tried to diminish her experiences. Their connection developed naturally, grounded in mutual admiration rather than need. For the first time, Hannah felt seen rather than tolerated. Back home, Oliver's life unfolded loudly. His engagement to Megan became a public spectacle, celebrated with enthusiasm that felt deliberately cruel. Then came the invitation, handwritten and smug, asking Hannah to attend the wedding. The intent was clear. Oliver wanted her to witness his happiness and confirm her own displacement. Hannah read the invitation with surprising calm. Instead of pain, she felt amusement. She showed it to Nathaniel, expecting concern, but he only smiled and asked how she wanted to respond. That simple question affirmed everything she had gained. Hannah decided to attend, not confront, but to close a chapter on her own terms. The wedding took place in an elegant vineyard estate, filled with guests dressed to impress. When Hannah arrived beside Nathaniel, stepping out of a luxury car in a flowing champagne silk gown, the atmosphere shifted. Conversations paused. Heads turned. No one recognized the woman they once pitied. Hannah moved with quiet confidence, her presence commanding attention without effort. Nathaniel introduced himself effortlessly, mentioning their upcoming engagement celebration abroad. Whispers spread quickly. Megan's smile stiffened, and Oliver stood frozen, struggling to reconcile memory with reality. Oliver watched Hannah laugh, radiant and composed, and realization struck painfully. She was no longer the woman he had discarded. She had become someone far beyond his reach. His pride crumbled as admiration replaced certainty. Hannah stayed only briefly. She offered polite congratulations, smiled sincerely, and left without spectacle. The impact lingered long after her departure. The wedding continued, but its joy felt forced, overshadowed by comparison no one could ignore. In the days that followed, Oliver sent messages filled with regret. He spoke of mistakes, of realizing too late what he had lost. Hannah read them once, then deleted them all. His remorse fell hollow, rooted in loss of control rather than love. Hannah chose peace over response. She understood that closure didn't require confrontation. It required self-respect. With Nathaniel, she embraced a future built on honesty and mutual respect, free from the shadows of her past. The town eventually adjusted its narrative. Hannah was no longer the woman who was left. She was a woman who rose. Her story became a quiet lesson in dignity and growth. Hannah no longer sought validation from anyone who failed to value her. She had learned that true triumph was revenge, but freedom. And in that freedom, she found lasting happiness. That's all for today. Like, subscribe, and see you in the next episode. Stay tuned.